Okay, so like, a lot happened at FanFest keynote and dev stream, so I'm going to just get right into it. No intro. I'm going to keep my thoughts to a minimal until after I do a recap of the keynote. We start with the first part of the new expansion trailer. I'll let you go watch that on Square's channel, you don't need me to go through it. Though I will say the story implications are huge, and I love the shot of Justinian just going fuck you to this robot. This is Evercold, a huge departure for the game as a whole. It comes to us in January. First we see his shirt is Ratatan of Cape Westwind fame. Dual shield job confirmed. Both new jobs will be FF14 original, not series as a whole. And it is confirmed to be tank and range DPS. We knew this since Dawntrail's jobs were announced. Our new era of storytelling is the Godless Realm Saga, which makes sense given where we are in the story. I won't go into details for those who are watching and not caught up on the story for whatever reason. If you know, you know. It is announced that we are going to the 4th. We are shown concept art and in-game photos. There's a lot of snake and dragon motifs. As someone in my chat pointed out, everything looks very Fimbulwinter, the events in Norse mythology preceding Ragnarok. Some of these places look really cool, some look like they're just the capital from FF16. Also, the Fire Nation attacked. This includes the arcane giants roaming the ice. How big are these going to be? This might just be this expansion's Eliminator or Innocence. Some extremely cool concept art continues. Then we get cat people! Look at these cats! Now we get to the huge updates. Fighting off fatigue. The solution to how the tome grind is this fucking ugly battle pass. So they are adamant that this is still early development, they can change a lot. But this is the first big change. This is their whole new activity UI. We're moving from a daily-based system to a weekly-based system, which we already were on, so this reasoning is really weird. They say the thought process is that the most efficient way of capping tomestones is to do roulettes. This interface is where you will manage character growth, gear upgrades, duty progression, weekly progress, and more, all in this one screen. They will be giving us complete freedom in how we finish the pass, with weekly missions and some repeatable ones. This includes seemingly all activities in the game, not just battle content. This UI is very, very temporary, as everyone seems to hate it. I do also want to note, they said some are repeatable, but are still weekly locked. They did not state an infinite repeat, like some people in my chat seem to suggest to me. It could be the case in the final build, but we don't know. They also want to potentially add a catch-up system. If you missed last week's points, you can catch up by doing a little extra this week. Essentially, you can play bi-weekly. There will also be ways to increase your eye level with this. However, we will only be told the full scope in Tokyo, so the 3rd FanFest. Also, because they know some people are ridiculous, they made sure to emphasize that this is all free. It is not a paid battle pass. It is free, like PvP. They're also changing to refer to things via seasons instead of patches. The split for seasons is how tomestones currently work. Season 1 is patch 8.0 and 8.1. Season 2 is patch 8.2 and 8.3. Season 3 is patch 8.4 and 8.5. Everyone will still refer to everything as patches. They also suggested that they will be trying to shorten patch cycles. Keyword trying. We'll see in future updates. Next, they talk about character-centered design, because they know we love our Warriors of Light. First is the armory system being updated. That's our gear window inventory. This is a huge quality of life thing. Whatever your highest eye level job is, you can reflect that eye level to all jobs. So if you have a BIS 790 job right now, every job you play can have a functional eye level of 790. Materia will not be included in this, and they are hammering out many of the details still. But this is here to try and help all people spread their wings, but especially newer players. Character action skins is their next showcase. What it shows is Dragoon using the skill Ring of Thorns, a skill we lost many years ago at this point. Delete and do not bring it back. Anyway, it sounds like these will be obtained via the Battle Pass. They will be giving more details in Berlin, so next FanFest. They are adding a bunch of new features to character creation. They did emphasize that there is no butt slider, yet, says Koji. Oh no. Probably just a joke, right? Anyway, a color picker for eye, hair, and skin tone. improved lip and eye customizing, along with eyeshadow, face paint layering as well. They're also letting us toggle on and off individual parts of gear. This can be from armor, or from stuff like dresses. The question is how much gear falls into this, where you can turn off things. They do want to continue to do additions even beyond 8.0. We're still seeing gear get dual dye channels, so do they just mean adding more gear to get this stuff? Next is evolving content. They want to improve public fields, the overworlds. They were not very specific here. They want to improve quest progression, both main and side questing. Again, very non-specific here. Perhaps an auto walk or something. They said it will relieve the burden of questing, so who knows. More at Berlin FanFest. Finally, evolving battle. This is a big one. We're gaining a new 8-player raid difficulty. They did not give a name, but this is between normal and savage, trying to encourage players to try something harder, like Corvos Advanced did, without forcing them into savage. They stated normal clear rates is about 80%, savage only 20%. Rewards are going to be a new route for gearing for players. They seem to imply that savage is no longer the main way to gear up. Perhaps more cosmetic rewards there? Don't worry, we still have Ultimate, before making a joke and ensuring they will not forget Ultimate gamers.
Still have Ultimate for you. And we're going to continue updating Ultimate as well.
What? What?
It's okay, I got you.
Berlin will have more info on this. Alliance raids, they say they understand that they're a time sink for players. They have no plans to shorten the lengths of the raids. They, however, are looking to ways to change the progression of them. They're not that long unless it's near, so I'm not sure what this is about. They will elaborate more at Tokyo Fest. New types of battle content will also be done. They have fully announced regional matchmaking and Party Finder. You do not need to leave Primal to come raid on Aether. They're all sharing the PF. The projected release? 7.5. They do not have a set date besides, but they want to launch before Evercold launches. The first stress test will be for Japan only, which makes sense. They will then slowly expand to the other regions. This is where they announced it's a ranged and tank job. They never said it would be a single job. Translations and interviews are not a perfect science, but we do get a closer look at our Westwind friend. New job action system. Everyone who said they never said they were going to do a new systems, like we all said they did at the Dawn Trail Media Tour, fuck you for trying to Mandela me. I know what they told me and everyone else in that room. They said they were doing big changes. We are still getting level 110, but this is a huge new system. This will apply to only the currently existing 21 jobs. Limited jobs and all jobs from 8.0 on will not have the system. That is, Reborn and Evolved. All new jobs are evolved by default. Reborn mode is the rotations we currently know. Evolved mode is emphasizing job individuality. People have been asking for more job identity, and the main point of this is to hone in on being individual. These will have less buttons, less keystrokes, but not inherently easier. This is not a simplified or easy mode. It is not simply combining combos into a single button, but entirely different rotations. I was skeptical too, but based on what they have shown us, this is kind of true. There are likely to be some jobs that are easier. They otherwise balance out with new mechanics. In essence, 8.0 has 23 new jobs, plus the changes all 21 current jobs will receive. You can toggle between the modes anytime outside of battle, so this is a skill tree you can swap between at any time. The job also starts with it unlocked. The moment you get the job, you have both modes. All content will be balanced for both modes in mind. However, Evolved is generally, probably, a tiny bit stronger. This does not mean DPS inherently, as we see later. It can mean other reasons. They stopped short of explaining much further to put it all in the dev stream. Paladin, Dragoon, Bard, and White Mage were shown during it. Truly, it's not as bad as it sounds. I was extremely down on it too. Hold your thoughts for after seeing that. They did a really poor job communicating this at all in the keynote. They should have been less descriptive and had it all during the dev stream. Treasure hunts, fates, and the hunt they are continuing to keep. They also plan to add more features to these to help with making the overworld more important. They showed some of the dungeon picks, the new job gears, and some class gears. New enemies. 8-player raid theme will be in Berlin. Ultimate raids will be coming back. They also showed off Dancing Mad Ultimate a little bit. I recognize all of the attacks he used. If you never did God Kefka, be afraid. Be very afraid. This is going to test your limits. PvP updates will be included as well. Duty support, they are looking into letting us do duos. More details in Berlin. The new Alliance raid? Square will be developing it. Kara will be fully supervising the development. How do we get Evangelion here? Who knows, but what the fuck? System requirements are not changing. However, PS4s are hitting their limit. The file size is getting too big. They might actually discontinue the game mid-expansion because around maybe 8.3, the data limit will be hit. So get saving up for a PS5 now. They also talked about Beastmaster. Barely. That's coming in 7.56, so the very tail end. Korean version is starting to synchronize with current patches. The free trial, as we all knew, is being expanded to Shadowbringers and level 80. It was not an if, but a when, and 7.5 is when. They then went over the full 7.5 schedule. 7.5 is MSQ, Trial, and Alliance Raid. 7.51 is Cosmic Exploration, Custom Deliveries, and Dancing Mad Ultimate. 7.55 is Hildebrand, Occult Crescent, and Phantom Weapons. 7.56 is Beastmaster, and the rest of the MSQ. They then brought out the CEO. We don't like this guy. However, he seemed to say he is going to support the dev team. So hopefully they will actually get all the resources they need for the game, and hopefully this idiot gives up AI for good. However, he came out to announce that the Switch 2 will be getting FF14, so it's on all major consoles. It will be launched this August with the free early access stress test period of a month. This comes at a cost though. The Switch version of the game will have its own subscription issues. You will have to buy a separate FF14 subscription to play the game. No, not just game code. Nintendo is forcing you to buy a whole FF14 subscription just for the Switch port. They freely threw Nintendo under the bus here. The compromise is that you do not need to buy Nintendo Online. You will get 50% off of this subscription as well if you have a subscription on the other systems. They also wouldn't let them show the footage on the big screen. Yoshida just held a Switch and moved the sticks in an empty limsa on the dev server. Even the stream people didn't get a good view. I imagine it was awful in person. Nintendo does what everyone else thought was a fucking stupid move don't. They then brought everyone else out to say hi and introduce themselves, including everyone's new favorite dev, Hikaru Tamaki, who asked Yoshi P for a job at a media interview. The man who went on to design Ninja, Machinist, Astrologian, Samurai, Dancer, Reaper, and Pictomancer, who made Construct 7 our math bot, and Chaos, and Shiva, and the new Kefka Ultimate. Also, the PvP rework skills was all his work. A lot more job stuff, plates, and portraits, and more. Now lovingly dubbed Mr. Prime for his work on Construct 7, he is anything but just a number. He is very much in his prime. Because he also solo developed the entire evolved job system. All 21 jobs are his work. All the devs deserve praise for their work. This guy is just an absolute unit, allowing himself to come on stage in front of all of us. There are likely many people there who did a lot of solo work that we all appreciate. So let's talk over the dev panel and them going over the major battle changes. They recap what they went over in the live letter, emphasizing that this is its own thing. Reborn jobs will remain. This is for lower input, also to help with newer players. But you can use both. Gear is shared. They also made sure to emphasize things are very in development. The goal was to have only 16 buttons required, or roughly around that amount. They got there in a few ways. The first was combining combos into a single button. The second was combining like skills into a single button, such as interject and low blow basically being the same. The evolved version is simply both a stun and a silence. The third is AoE versions of single target skills are just rolled into one. The fourth is being context sensitive. They are sensitive to context. So Holy Spirit when targeting an enemy becomes Clemency for an ally. Evolved jobs have increased GCD speed and also increasing the power of skills to compensate for less buttons. So Paladin does not have Bulwark, but all the other defensive will be more powerful. Then show off Paladin and all it can do, into other jobs. Tamaki will use a controller and Yoshida a keyboard and mouse. Again, in development. That icon is continuation. Expect that to change. We have a defense and honor gauge. One is 20 seconds, the other is 40 seconds. Both 2 charges. Also, the crest setting? They didn't go into this. We also have gained on Holy Sheltron a parry system. You get a counterattack for blocking a hit. The better timed the cooldown, the stronger the attack is. We also see an AoE heal off of our wings. Shield Lob and Shield Bash are on the same button and are both AoE. And then, Gap Closing Cover. Also Tony the GOAT! They had a lot of tech issues during the dev stream and Tony was their go-to guy to fix it all. But also here's a quick timer of the GCD length. And then their final play around with the job. This probably means Monk has a permanent The Arrow now. My worry remains spreading that power across less cooldowns and cooldown timers. Spreading cooldowns out is important for some raids, so we really need to see how this shakes out numbers-wise. That won't be until launch. Dragoon has a lot of pleasant surprises. New positionals. We have a left, a right, and a rear positional. No, not flank positional. A left, a right. We have the Dragon's Bane gauge that fills with time. We spend these stacks on those positionals. Sinister Drive is from the left. Dexter Drive is from the right. The rear comes after doing both of those. Winged Chaos will be boosted from this. Due to this emphasis on positionals, they have increased the leeway on them and increased graphical feedback. Vengeful Jump is our new jump. It ignores the positional requirement of the next GCD, so a built-in true north. Blood of the Dragon is back. Vengeful Jump increases Blood of the Dragon to unlock Stardiver at 3 stacks. Stardiver allows you to get Life of the Dragon for a powerful combo. Stardiver also allows you to use our PvP limit break, Sky High. It was referred to as a one-time action. Does that mean that it is one time per fight, or was that a mistranslation? They do show it used again without resetting the striking dummy, so that could also not be implemented yet. As it currently stands, it's just like a legacy jump ability, temporary invulnerability included. At the moment, it is a 90% mitigation, which is essentially true invulnerability to everything but one-shots at that point. It will probably be reduced later, because that means Dragoon can now tank busters. We do get 4 charges of Shirk and Provoke. Also, Elusive seems to have a speed boost now. They mentioned some of their intent with these. They want them to be fun, and also really fall into the job identity. Next is White Mage. I was extremely skeptical of healers especially. Evolved mode puts way more emphasis on healing. When you use a GCD heal, you gain Sanctity. Each stack of Sanctity buffs your new skill, Holy Sanctuary, then sets you back to 0. This helps bridge the gap into Savage, since now GCD healing isn't this huge punishment. Your main DPS skills meanwhile are a 2-hit combo, and both instant cast. Aquaveil and Benison are combined into one cooldown, applying both effects with a shared charge time. Temperance also has a speed boost attached. Hopefully it's self-only because, god, I still hate Expedience. I will stand by my hatred of it. Finally, we have Bard. I started this part off with hallucinating that they brought back Bow Mage, but it was just an animation. The focus is essentially songs are now stances, but still come with special support bonuses. The performance gauge is consumed to perform your songs, but allows you to customize your rotation as needed to use the support songs you want, when you need them. Mage's Ballad is a regen. Movement speed, gross, is up with Army's Paeon. Wanderer's Minuet is a barrier. But as said, it's also stances for damage. Mage's is dots. Paeon is a speedy combo. And Wanderers is a combo into a devastating single strike, which has a cast time. Oh god, it wasn't a hallucination, but a premonition! Repelling Shot, now Wanderer's Volley, is a spot dodge. What? Huh? They are really trying to make rotations extremely flexible, so you can alter it based on a fight. Bard really shows that off with the songs, and putting on the one you need as the fight asks, and bursting when you can. But when we're stuck in a 2-minute meta, we have to burst on the 2-minute window. Synergy actions are gone. Party buffs are gone. The meta is shattered. 3-minute meta was not any better, but now there is none. This isn't just for evolved jobs either. Reborn jobs have their synergy skills gone too. They can now design jobs and combat encounters however they damn well please. They do say that this decision was not an easy one. They understand that optimizing party buffs and rotations under those is part of the fun. They found that the disadvantages were not worth it at the end, so now we'll see if personal bursts become the main thing. They really emphasize how this will let them design jobs to be individual, including reborn jobs. People have also been asking for low levels to have a more full toolkit. That's where Evolved comes into play. Levels 1 to 50 will be spent giving you your full base button toolkit. Your hotbars will not change after level 50. However, traits and effects will be gained after. So like how we get Stardiver at level 90, then Starcross at level 100. Same button, but an added effect. So if you want a more fulfilling low-level dungeon run, swap to Evolved mode. And I want to reiterate, this is Evolved mode only, not Reborn. As is the next point. People entirely misread the next point too, thinking it applied to Reborn jobs. Evolved jobs, and only Evolved jobs, are going to be properly split into main tank and off tank. Paladin and our dual shield are the main tank. Off tanks will be the rest. If this is meant to include the Reborn mode, they forgot the banner. Look at this screen. Reborn is only on one of these, not the tank split.
I do want to point out that this pertains to the evolved mode, so...
Thanks, Jaime, for also outright saying that. That on top of, until we see numbers, off-tank can probably still main tank just fine. They still have Mitt, and Mitt is Mitt. Reducing the damage the party as a whole takes still includes the tank itself. So unless we see some huge differences in the final evolved skill lists, chill. How much does this affect old duties and future duty creation? I think about duties where tank damage and tank busters are constant. Will we have enough cooldown buttons to spread around? The problem isn't cooldown overall power, but having enough to spread around. Such as how in M11S the tank is getting beat up during the arena split. If your healers aren't helping you, you might mitt. Unfortunately, this can be the case, I've experienced it. With less mitt to go around, there will be growing pains for sure with all this, but I am very, very hopeful that this is truly a new era of the game for good, not ill. And then they just outright did tell us that all evolved jobs were Mr. Prime alone. That's a lot of work for one man. So after the whole event, I'm still left with some doubts. The Battle Pass especially. I was mostly sold after seeing my baby Dragoon in action in evolved mode. Maybe further changes will upset me or when I play it for myself. But I am cautiously optimistic as hell about job changes. There's also the huge worry of how do you balance 44 jobs? Freeing up design space like this will hopefully make it easier to do so, but that's a lot more work. Some people also think that this is for 8.0 only. 9.0 and beyond, it will only be evolved. That will almost certainly kill the game. I do not expect them to do so even if numbers for Evolved are good, even if adoption rates are high. People have been asking for them to shake up the game. This is it. This is a shake-up. Whether you are excited or fearful, things are shaken. The Battle Pass, though? We were already on a weekly system. The vagueness and poor reasoning are really unconvincing. I even have defended free season passes before. Even the PvP one here in 14. There's one in Deep Rock Galactic I thought was great. This one, I am having my doubts. It could all be overthinking. It probably is. I'll be waiting for Berlin for final thoughts. Like, I am the guy that says relics should be more work because you go play the goddamned game. So that part of the pass is super cool with me. It just really rubs me the wrong way. I don't cap tomes with dailies. There's hunt trains and X-fights and field content and so much battle content. A lot of people don't cap this way though, I will fully admit that. I just don't see the reasoning. And one final problem, I'm putting a call out now, a request. All players, if you are kicking people for using Reborn instead of Evolved or vice versa, stop. I am full serious. I am not going back to the old days. Do not police people for playing the job they like, whether it's Reborn or Evolved. World Prog? Fine, I get it. You're going to hedge your bets and use the absolute best comps you can across all 44 jobs. Stormblood Extremes having Samurai locked out a good half of parties? Go to hell if you were one of them. Your casual ass is failing the DPS check with or without a Samurai if you think Samurai's damage is that low. I'm pretty sure current Machinist is in a worse spot than Samurai was back then, yet we currently see Machinist as fine to include in your average PF. Even Summoner as well. This is Savage level content and we're still getting them in. Do not be a problem, especially if the damage difference is as tiny as they make it sound. Plus, it might not even be damage they mean. Thank you for watching this FanFest review and opinions. I tried to minimize my thoughts, but they slipped in during it all. There was a lot to try and go over, even with me quickly going through stuff. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Follow my socials, my Patreon, my Twitch, and be prepared for me to need to make so many guides, oh god. I don't think I could do them all, honestly. 44 jobs is a lot. May the power of Anna Nidhogg stay waste to your enemies.